Hello, this is Jamie of the Druid Diaries. There's a certain temperament that's cultivated in Druidry. It's a way of approaching difficulties. It is very complementary to the role of someone that is, say, a mediator, someone who teaches, a healer, which is a very considered way of approaching things. We are encouraged to take time when we react to something, to take time when we are going to give our opinions on things. We're not always going to do that. We're not going to stop being spontaneous beings, and we're not going to stop having moments where, something really might hurt us unexpectedly and we react quickly. We're all human, but to cultivate a sort of more considered approach to things is something that's very druidic. And we take time, count to 3, maybe even take a few days, think about something before you comment, if that's possible. And I think it's a very beautiful way, and it's been very good for me as well. So I wanted to talk about injury and how we react to injury and things that we see in other people and what we might expect for ourselves. I'm not a counselor, I'm just an older person, okay? So I want to reflect on some very practical things, something that we can maybe all identify with. You see this on my throat? That's an old injury. I don't have a goiter or some kind of thyroid condition. People often think that's what that swelling is, and you should go get that checked. Well, I have had it checked, and hopefully, actually the doctor I have now, she might have something up her sleeve for this, but it's a swelling. It's a chronic swelling I've had for, let's see, I was like 12 years old. It's a really long time ago. I was sitting in a chair at school, and, well, actually I was going to sit down in a chair at school at a table, and a classmate of mine, he pulled the chair out from under me, and I fell, but I didn't go immediately down to the floor. I hit the table edge, those really hard, big wooden tables, and it broke my collarbone. And that was left undiagnosed. I went to the doctor, and she just thought I was whining, so she didn't even send me for x-rays. Oh, you'd be crying, when you're breathing if you broke your collarbone. But I guess it was a little more stoic than she realized. And over the years, right, I have been very active, and this muscle that goes down here is a little connection to the bone, and the bone is displaced, and so there's been tears, little micro tears in here, and it's not attached properly, and the bone is out of alignment, and so it swells up, right? And sometimes it goes down a bit, but it always returns, and it's never really healed properly. Well, some of you may have already jumped ahead and guessed what I might be going to say, but we pack injuries inside of us that are not so visible. So if people misunderstand something that's right in front of their eyes, they're going to misunderstand symptoms of our internal injuries as well. Things that have happened to us that haven't fully healed, behaviors that have developed over time as shields, may not be very pleasant. There's all kinds of things that can happen. When you encounter somebody who's short with you, grumpy, maybe they're cranky all the time, maybe they don't use the right words, maybe they grew up with using inappropriate words, and that's what they've got to express themselves with. There's so many reasons why people react the way they do, and the vast majority of them have nothing to do with you or I. It just happens to be a situation you are encountering, and a lot of the time we take that personally, and it hurts us. And so one hurt begets another, and then maybe we don't react very nicely either in turn, and that doesn't really help the situation. It's not that we have the right to ask people really deep personal questions to find out, why are you reacting like this? like what's going on with you. But we might actually have an opportunity to speak with people in a more intimate way, to strive for a deeper understanding of one another, especially if you're having a bit of a conflict with people or you're rubbing each other the wrong way. There's always something more to this. It's like this swelling, right? There's something going on. There's something at the root cause, at the bottom of it, that's the root cause. So I think in Druidry, we have this sort of methodical approach to handling things, to think critically, not to be critical. That's a totally different thing. To think critically is to try and be as objective as possible and consider lots of factors, to be able to research things and get more information about things before we give a response. We're encouraged, and this is a beautiful thing, we're encouraged to do that. And we're still human beings, and if anyone has this expectation that anyone who calls themselves a druid, or maybe they've done lots of courses, they've done lots of studies, and they're older, that they're going to be perfect and that they're going to react reliably every time, it's really kind of unfair to them. Everyone's a human being, and we all have our moments. So I just also don't think it's good to idealize people to that degree. We're on a path because we have needs and desires to grow to be better than we are, I would hope. So we're all works in progress, and we do the best we can. It's important to have empathy and compassion for people regarding that process. So we have this sort of really mindful approach to dealing with conflicts and interpersonal relations and debate, which has to do with stop, think, listen, look, consider, research. Don't chomp down on the whole thing really quickly. But of course we're going to do that once in a while. So all I'm saying is that I think that Druidry, being the type of practice that it is, has a lot to offer in helping us all have better relationships with people. I don't get along with people all the time, but I do really strive to do so. And I really try hard, to work on myself so that I have more restraint, I have more patience, that I develop more insight, and that I can distance myself a bit from these situations that so often we human beings take personally, that I recognize what's going on with that person. It's just something I just interacted with. It was going on before I had that interaction, and it really doesn't have anything to do with me. And that if I stop, pause, and strive to handle that in a calmer, more objective way, that is something that is going to reduce harm. It's going to save face for people. It's going to just develop a better working relationship with people. And who knows, it might even be helpful in the healing department. We don't know. How well do you really know everyone around you? So we can also step back and say, that's going to be good for you as well, because it's going to be healthier. You're not going to get so worked up about things, and you're going to be able to have more ability to resolve problems in a good way instead of a conflicted way or a conflictual way. So, you see this. You may not know what it is. You may guess what it is, but you don't really know. You get curious. We do the same thing with the emotional state of people too. And I think most negative reactions in people are due to some form of injury or woundedness. And it's almost like a conditioned response, a protective shield that people put down if they snap at you, or you might have accidentally and completely innocently triggered something that is an old injury. And by reacting in a harsh way to that, you're just re-injuring it. It's like this chronic condition I have right there. You're just making it harder for it to go away. So don't add to it. Do your best not to add to other people's injuries. and that's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for other people, and it helps us grow. And it's certainly not foolproof, and you're not going to be doing it 100% of the time. And there are moments in our lives dealing with people that we do have to put our foot down, because even though this may still be true, you also have to be safe. You have to protect yourself. So have compassion for yourself as well as for others. Understand that you need to have boundaries, because not everyone is going to be a good person for you to have interactions with. But that doesn't mean you have to be mean to them or unkind or disrespectful. It just means you're saying, okay, I know that this is hard on me, so I can't spend all my time here. Maybe I can give a little of myself to this person and situation, but I can't do it for hours and hours. Okay, so let's have coffee, and then we're going to enjoy each other's company. I'm going to have the strength for this given amount of time to deal with this person's injuries, and hopefully that friend or colleague is going to benefit from that, and I'm going to benefit from that in a good way, because I know that I did something that feels right to me, and I genuinely enjoyed their company for the most part, right? I've sat and listened to people in pain for well over an hour, 2 hours, or for a very lengthy period of time. And I've had friends, people come in and out of my life that are in such a state that almost every time we interact, that pain is coming out. And the shoe has been on the other foot for me as well, because I've been through some very difficult periods in my life and had some very difficult things happen in my life. And that caused me great pain and personal internal hurt. And I've had people that have done this for me. They've had to put down their personal space, is what's healthy for them, and they have listened, and they have given emotional support. And I am so grateful for all those people. So I too give that support to others. I have received that support from people, and I recognize that those are important things to do, and you do it best if you recognize this little analogy here. That's my time clock. Thank you very much, iMac. And that's telling me really that I need to wind it up. But it's really important. This is character building. And I think that's something that Druidry is really good at. Helping us develop ourselves, our personal development. It's excellent. And keep it up. I am. And I encourage you to forgive yourselves when you're not really able to react at your best to those internal injuries that people express, but also have compassion for yourself, because you might also express those wounds as well. And we just have to move on from there and try to do better the next time. But knowing what that is really helps. It really helps. That understanding is important. And if you look at what the Druids of old did as leaders in their community, they had to deal with a lot of strife too. It came to my attention the other day when a colleague of mine who I care about, I don't spend much time with this person. She's going through a horrible time in her life, and she's not well. And I spent a little time with her. This is sort of the second or third time that I've spent some time with her, just listening to her and trying to help her and support her. And I've certainly done this a lot of times over my lifetime with people. But I think what was interesting, and this has been happening to me a lot lately, is stepping back from that, when I was not with her, or just shortly after, and thinking, oh my goodness, okay, this is serious. This practice of Druidry, you might be helping people with a funeral, okay? You might be helping people that are really sick on their deathbed as clergy. Are you going to be able to handle that? It's a big responsibility, and it can be very draining. Your heart can be in it, many times over, but you have to also care for yourself. And can you do that? Can you grow into doing that? I believe we can. We keep following the path and we keep working on ourselves. We will have a lot to offer as time goes by. But you can't be a druid and just hide in your cave. Being a solitary is honorable and good. There's nothing wrong with that. And it is legitimately being a druidry practitioner, and you can be a solitary druid. But the further you go in this, and the more you achieve that recognition, the more people may come to you and need your help and really, really need your support. And they're going to need you to be a rock. Okay? So really care for yourself. Think about this and keep at it. I really feel it deep in my heart that it's important to be there for people and to also be able to care for yourself. So take care, and take care of that too. I'll see if I can get some improvement going here. Take care. Bye-bye.